Well, it's finally here, Shinobi Art of Vengeance, the latest game in the Shinobi series, released by SEGA and developed by Lizardcube. I was able to clear 8 stages last night and see just how massive the game was, so I hope you enjoy this mini review of the game based on what I've done thus far. There may be some minor spoilers, but nothing too descriptive to allow you to discover it for yourself. Enjoy. The game starts as a sequel to some of the games that came before that starred iconic hero Joe Musashi. He's back in an adventure that clearly follows Shinobi 3 Return of the Ninja Master, or Super Shinobi 2 in Japan, and tracks Musashi's battle against the ENE Corporation led by Roos. Elements such as Joe's lover Naoko being pregnant with his child, who we know from one or two games is called Hayate as you play as him, and a certain returning boss from the first game give us this timeline. The action is peppered with small animated cutscenes that flow the story along. They aren't too lengthy and keep roughly to the point to keep the story moving but stop the action from being stunted. Upon completing a stage you can play it in arcade mode, which removes all the story elements for those that aren't particularly into this. Overall, the story is fun, functional and has new characters and one or two familiar ones, plus some nods to certain other Lizardcube releases as well. Next up we have the graphics. I hear plenty of people moan that this isn't a Shinobi title because it doesn't have pixel art. Welcome to the 21st century. Games don't have to look exactly like their first few games to be part of the series. What determines they're part of a series is the creator or owner, not somebody who has an opposing opinion. That said, whether you lament the lack of pixel art or not, what we have here is utterly gorgeous Lizardcube art, which isn't surprising following the Wonder Boy the Dragon's Trap remake and Streets of Rage 4, which both looked outstanding. There's plenty of detail in the characters, with Joe rocking his red and white garb, stylised after his Shinobi 3 getup. The enemies all have plenty of style to them, and there are lots of them. The scenery itself is utterly gorgeous, with mountains, submarine bases, a fish market, and the open ocean all on display among many others. Each stage has several parts to it, further varying the locales. One of the best parts of the graphics is actually the small nods and background details. Streets of Rage 4 had Shinobi graffiti in the background of one of its levels, and that follows on here. The fish market of Shinobi Art of Vengeance has Ryo from the Shenmue series driving around in a forklift. One area has pictures from Streets of Rage 4 and Golden Axe, and that same area also has some Sega hardware related signs. What we have on offer here looks amazing, and I'm looking forward to completing the remaining stages to see what they have. I'll admit, when I played the demo, apart from the world map and Anku Rift area, I wasn't too taken by the stage 1 music. It was good enough, but not the most toe-tapping, hype-pumping first stage tune I've ever heard, so I was ever so slightly worried going into the full game. I needn't have been though. Returning composer Yuzo Koshiro, who did the music for Revenge of Shinobi on the Mega Drive and the 2 Game Gear Shinobis, is joined by main composer T. Lopes, and the music has been brilliant. I don't think it hits the best of games like Revenge of Shinobi or Shinobi 3, which have recognisable and memorable tunes, but it definitely fits the bill and is an enjoyable listen. As soon as we jump onto stage 2, which is the first mounted stage, listed as a bonus stage by the game, the music definitely kicks up a notch. From the moody lake section of the Lantern Festival, to the Japanese instrument-infused heights of the mountains, the funky dance beats of Neo City, and the rock music of Riptide, there's a good variety of music and genre fusion going on, and it all adds nicely to the backdrop of the action. If you're just exploring after the fact, it makes for a nice uninterrupted accompaniment as well. Overall, the sound, whilst not the strongest Shinobi has ever offered, is still extremely good, and I dare you not to enjoy it. Now we get onto the meat of the game, the gameplay. Wouldn't be much of a game without it. Sorry visual novel fans, I love a good visual novel, but they can sometimes be quite sedate in the gameplay department. The demo gave us a taste of the combo-laden combat and the multitude of abilities and equipment. The full game, however, will feature some surprises to you. The first stage, Oboro Village, has the same layout as the demo. However, the demo spoiled us with more equipment and moves that are, unsurprisingly, later in the game, and some additional parts blocked off. I could complete a high percentage chunk of Oboro Village in the demo. In the full game, I could barely explore 20-something%. This means it's definitely a good idea to concentrate on some of the game first before re-exploring areas to find new things. There are plenty of things to unlock throughout, such as amulets, moves, pieces of equipment, ninjutsu and new outfits, so you'll be kept busy exploring for some time. The combat itself flows really well. Gone is the mostly shuriken-based gameplay of the earlier entries, with the game opting for a hack-and-slash combo-based system with light and heavy attacks chained together into follow-up moves. You'll slowly unlock an arsenal of new moves with the shop system, such as fire breathing, a rolling knee, a healing ninjutsu, and many more, as well as ninja equipment such as the claws to climb walls and ceilings, and the ninja hook for traversing specialist grappling points. Add in a dodging system with a dash move and a limited amount of kunai throwing daggers, and Joe is loaded for bear, with you being able to fight how you want and customise the moves accordingly to your controller. The ninjutsu themselves follow on from the Mega Drive games, with the screen-filling fire attack Karyu and the lightning shield Raijin, the first and third ninjutsu I unlocked respectively. What I liked most about the combat is the fact it doesn't have an enforced parry system, though there is a move to counter the next enemy attack. Given Joe's nimble nature and sheer smorgasbord of moves, it was practically unnecessary to use. The game is split into several stages, with you starting at Oboro Village, moving on to the forced movement, wolf-mounted stage, the chase, and then hitting a choice, as the next area has 2 stages to pick from, that you can play in either order. Completing both of these is needed to then proceed to the third area, which has 3 stages to choose from. Following on from that is the next scrolling stage, Riptide, which is a surfing level that fans of Shinobi 3 will really enjoy. That's as far as I managed to get last night, and I can see at least another 5 stages. However, the game isn't utterly perfect in every way, because that wouldn't be objective now, would it? Stages do take quite a while to complete, with a lot of them taking half an hour. This pads the game out nicely, but may feel like quite a stretch for some people, even if following up in arcade mode and ignoring a lot of exploration. The 4 scrolling stages where you ride the wolf and the surfboard, whilst fun, feel a bit sedate speed-wise, not matching the utter thrill of the surfing and horse riding level from Shinobi 3. The game can also feel like at times it's a bit of a rotation of pieces, doing part of a stage with some enemies, before a forced stop to fight a wave of enemies, a platforming section, then rinse and repeat. This can get very repetitive and probably will put off some people, but others will enjoy it. I also know that some people won't like the small Metroidvania exploration to it. However, I haven't repeated any stages yet, so it's perfectly capable to be played as a straight-up action game. These are just some small things to note that may put off some players. I was able to locate exactly 1 new Anko Rift, which, for those who haven't played the demo, are small side sections that demand gaming excellence, with the Oboro Village one being an instant death, spike-laden jump fest. The one I found in the full game was a multi-wave enemy fight which dragged on for a very long time until I lost a few times due to the length of it, so I gave up and moved on with the game. These will require a lot of patience, practice and skill, but will definitely suit some players, but may tar the experience a fair amount for others who want to experience it all but just simply don't have the patience for such feats. All in though, Shinobi Art of Vengeance is a love letter to long-term Shinobi fans, with fun gameplay, serious nods, great music, gorgeous visuals, and I didn't want to put the controller down once during my first 4 hours with it. The game is certainly deserving of its scores, which averaged in the 8 or 9 out of 10 range. Whilst I still think I prefer the Mega Drive offerings all around, there's no denying this is an utterly fantastic game that shows Lizardcube are safe hands for Sega's dormant IPs, and I can't wait to see what they do next. Fingers crossed for a 2D beat-em-up return for Alien Storm or Golden Axe, eh? Go and get Shinobi Art of Vengeance to show strong sales, and show Sega that this is what we want. Their legacy IPs to be handled and treated with the reverence they deserve, but brought up to speed for modern and casual players to also dive in and enjoy, so as many people as possible can get into the series. I've been Retro Martin, and I hope you enjoyed this mini review of Shinobi Art of Vengeance.